Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ana Estrades, curator of the exhibition, author of the catalog, and jewelry researcher. In this 15-minute presentation, I want to share with you a preview of the catalog pages, a few facts about the All is Possible exhibition, as well as the research process and writing of the catalog. First, let me tell you about the piece in the catalog cover. This is an oxygen mask pendant showing Scherr's spectacular drawing skills on metal, etching on silver, and part of the body monitors that made her famous as a pioneer and innovator in the late 1960s. As many of you know, the idea of designing monitoring devices came to her while watching the moon landing and the astronauts' vital signs on television. The catalog back cover shows the same pendant open to reveal a portable face mask that provides 10 minutes of oxygen, which is useful for people living in cities with respiratory problems such as asthma. While the Museum of Art and Design in New York City has one oxygen pendant, together with a full collection of body monitors donated by the artist in 1998, this is the prototype that was kept in Scherr's last studio in Raleigh. You may ask, how do you know it's the prototype? Mary Ann is demonstrating this same oxygen mask in a black and white photograph from the early 1980s when she was living and working in New York City. In the photograph, you can see the same brown decorative amber beads hanging at the bottom of the Raleigh pendant, while the amber beads in the Museum of Art and Design piece to the right are long and narrow. Much like the exhibition divided in 3 sections, the catalog has 3 distinct parts: Scherr's early to mid-career, mature years in North Carolina, and eclectic legacy in metal. This division was necessary because All is Possible is Mary Ann's first museum retrospective, covering a long career in metal that lasted almost 7 decades. In the catalog, it is possible to see photographs of Mary Ann across decades, from left to right, when she first started working in metals in the 1950s, wearing one of her early etching on silver necklaces, that is the left photograph, working in the studio in the 1970s at the center, and in the 1990s while teaching at Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina, to the right. Scherr's early to mid-career, 1940s to 1980s, covers her training in illustration and graphic design, early career in industrial design with her husband Sam Scherr in Ohio, up until the peak of her career in New York City. This period also corresponds to the first room of the exhibition, in which the main highlight is the wall with the body monitors. In particular, out of over 140 pieces in the show, there's only one piece on loan from outside Raleigh, the Heart Pulse bracelet from the Museum of Arts and Design in New York City. Designed in the late 1960s, it is a sort of early Fitbit that measures your heartbeat. An alarm alerts to check your activity level, take appropriate medication, or seek professional assistance. Yes, Scherr predicted wearable technology way before Apple. It's also worth noting that this catalog is the first to publish a color photograph of the bracelet. Mature Years in North Carolina, 1980s to 2016, covers Scherr's summers at Penland School of Crafts and her last 30 years in Raleigh, where she and her husband Sam moved to reunite with their children, who were all living in North Carolina then. Mary Ann continued with her work in the studio, but in particular she focused on metal teaching and mentoring at different institutions: Duke, Meredith, and NC State Crafts Center, where, as you can see from the picture, she was teaching well into her 90s. To the left, you can see a full page of the catalog dedicated to titanium, showing the range of colors of this light white metal on cuffs, chokers, and a hairband. Back in the 1980s, Scherr pioneered the use of titanium in jewelry design, and in Raleigh she loved teaching the process of coloring it with light and electricity through anodizing. The last section of the catalog, Eclectic Legacy in Metal, is the equivalent to the last room in the exhibition, which deals with Scherr's jewelry by type, a display with earrings, another with rings, 2 cases with necklaces, and 2 displays with cuffs. Scherr made the following observation at a 2012 interview, quote, "A showcase of my pieces looks like 20 different people." To prove her point, for example, we reunited a total of 40 cuffs and bracelets. Even when seen together, there is no repetition in the cuffs, but a wide range of materials: silver, stainless steel, aluminum, gold, copper, brass, techniques like niello, applique, reticulation, instant etching, and a variety of styles: minimalist, modernist, ethnic, ancient, classical, tribal. The best explanation I can give you behind the eclecticism in Scherr's work is that it is the result of whole new ways of looking at something. While her style is recognizable, Scherr is always fresh and innovative, rich in materials and sources. At this point, it's important that I reveal a parallel between Marianne Scherr's career and mine. Similarly to Scherr, who discovered jewelry in her late 20s, I completed my master's in jewelry history in my early 30s after 2 other careers. It often takes a multidisciplinary background to understand how rich, multifaceted, and full of possibilities jewelry design is. Around 1983, at the peak of her career in metals, Marianne described this same concept as follows, quote, "From what I'm beginning to understand about metal, there's no end to the techniques that have come through civilizations and cultures. So as long as there is more to learn, I guess I'll be a metalsmith." This is also the reason why the catalog and exhibition title is All is Possible. Scherr made several All is Possible silver bracelets. In the catalog, we feature the one pictured here, which she gifted to a former studio assistant who needed encouragement to continue making her art. Thus, the phrase sums up Scherr's can-do-all attitude, dedicated mentorship, as well as the many creative possibilities she saw in metal. Designing and teaching metals was a lifetime career choice for Marianne, who liked to challenge herself and the students to master this art form. Next, I will share some of my research process and sources for the catalog. My research began in New York City at the Museum of Art and Design with the body monitors. And as soon as I moved to Raleigh in early 2019, I turned to the local community here to catalog Scherr's pieces in private hands. This is one of Marianne's highlight pieces owned by a private collector in Raleigh. The pendant necklace in silver and glass with the original drawing of it. This necklace was made in 1988 in collaboration with an unidentified glass blower from Penland School of Crafts. Located in the North Carolina mountains, Scherr taught metals at Penland for more than 40 summers. Her drawing meticulously details how the piece was to be made. Each glass tube and bead was individually hand-blown before being attached to the metal tubing in the frame. Because I never met Marianne in person, I decided to record my interviews with the Raleigh community. Her sons, here I'm pictured with Scott Scherr on the exhibition's opening night at the Gregg Museum of Art and Design back in February, and interviews with the artists, friends, and former studio assistants. The sons provided me with documents and never published records from the artist's personal archive, drawings of her designs and husband's sons, body monitoring documents and letters, photographs, alongside a copy of Marianne Scherr's 170-page autobiography, My Life, A Collection of Moments, written sometime after Sam's death in 2002, which was distributed among family members only. In it, Scherr describes family and personal anecdotes. For example, Marianne recalls a high school drama in which she wore the wrong clothes to a party, and ever since she declared that it was most important to feel comfortable in her own skin. Throughout her life, she designed many of her clothes. Her mother was a seamstress, often wearing black to highlight her jewelry. The second photo from the exhibition opening night is of Scherr's former students and studio assistants, similarly dressed in black and wearing the jewelry designs made in Marianne's studio. In my interviews with her students, it was interesting to learn that Scherr taught them how to make cuffs, necklaces, and earrings, but never rings because they were a mainstay in her business. Commissioned for weddings and other special occasions, her rings have dimension, texture, and feature a combination of personalized symbols, numbers, and characters. The technique is etching and metal applique, which involves soldering at least 2 layers of metal together, often 14K gold and sterling silver. At the center, you can see 2 of Marianne's well-worn personal rings. The long shield ring, left, spells out her initials vertically, M.A.S. I would like to conclude by saying that it was not an easy task to cover a larger-than-life artist in a few catalog pages, especially when those who knew Marianne well described her as restless, force of nature, incredible talent, energy, and creativity, master teacher, and Wonder Woman. This was also one of the most fascinating projects I've embarked on in my jewelry career so far. It's been most interesting to document a lifetime's legacy by bringing together these many pieces, original artist records, and interviews from such a vibrant community. The key to unlocking Marianne Scherr's legacy is precisely in this intersection between her pieces and commitment to teaching as a lifelong process of discovery and experimentation. Scherr's own words express it loud and clear. Quote, I tell my students to look around, be open, receptive, and move toward unique directions of discovery. Thank you all for your attention. I also want to thank the Gregg Museum team, in particular the director Roger Manley, who entrusted me with Scherr's exhibition and catalog in the first place, and Evelyn McCauley, who designed the catalog, the Raleigh Fine Art Society for their generous support of this project and the catalog publication, Jason Doodle for the amazing professional jewelry photography, and a special thanks go to Marianne's best friend, Patsy Hoffenberg, who helped me with the editing of the catalog text, the Scherr family, daughters Cindy and sons Randy and Scott, who gave me full access to Marianne's personal archive, last but not least, the 22 private collectors who have lent their Scherr pieces to the exhibition, as well as Scherr's former students and studio assistants whom I interviewed during my research.